Hey, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to a Some Assemblage Required video, which I'm combining today with Mixed Media Mayhem as well as Use the Stuff. And if you watched my video yesterday, I lied. I said you were going to actually see some mixed media today. You're going to see a little bit, but I did my mixed media twice. Not once, but twice, and didn't have my camera turned on. So I'm just telling you what I did here, you guys. I took my distress inks, squeezed lemonade, wild honey, speckled egg, a little Victorian velvet, and I used this awesome stencil from Sandy over at Scrapping Reflections, and then I went over 2 areas of it with some crackle paste from Deco Art, and this is what you got. The stencil is amazing. I don't know if it's available. I think it is, and I will have to put a link to it for you. And now the stencil is actually still sitting on top of the paper. Before I lift it up, well, I did lift it up. I went and washed it, and I brought it back and put it down. And then I went over it with some embossing powder. So you are getting to see some of this. I took my Versamark ink pad, and I just squished it down right over the top of the stencil. And then I poured clear embossing powder right over the top of it. So originally I was only going to do the crackle paste areas to give them a really glossy look, but then I ended up going and doing all of it because I really liked the way that it looks. And so it's going to be completely covered in embossing powder. It's just clear though. It's not adding any color, but it does look really cool and gives it a good effect, or cool effect. And I think I'm going to show that here in just a moment when it's all said and done. It's really hard to see the change of the embossing powder over the crackle paste. It's a little easier to see it over the top of the colored portions of the image. And so hopefully you'll get a better look as I kind of dry it or melt it in a second here. But I basically did all of the colored areas, and I am totally thrilled with how it looks. You can see the purple there and the blue as it changes color. You can see it turns a darker color because the embossing powder is essentially melting and going clear instead of looking like it's white. So pretty happy with how that came out. And yes, it was my second try. I didn't do all of the embossing portion the first time around. I just got all of my color laid down and my crackle paste, and then I realized my camera wasn't on, and so I did it a second time again with my camera not on. So my sincerest apologies for that, but at least you got to see a little bit of something today. So I am using a bunch of stuff from the Some Assemblage Required shop. Some of these items were in the monthly embellishment box. I believe this yellow film strip is from one of the embellishment boxes. I want to say these are from, I'm going to say May. I could be wrong, but I will put a link down below to anything that is still available because my memory is terrible about which month is which. And I didn't go and look it up before I started voicing this. My sincerest apologies. I do know that the artsy stuff up at the top is all from April. So I do know that. I just am not sure about the film strip. And then I have these flare pieces that are also from the Some Assemblage Required monthly box. And those are made by Scrap and Happy Studio, and the yellow film strip is from 49 and Market. You get a smaller sampling in the embellishment box along with a whole bunch of other stuff. I believe the charms might have been in the embellishment box as well. And so it's really awesome because you get a little sampling. If you were to go and try and purchase the flare over at Scrap and Happy, you get a pack of 6. You can't get a pack of 3 of these. Well, actually, I don't even know if this design is available. It might be exclusive to MK's shop. And then for 49 and Market's film strips, you get a whole bunch more. And if you're not somebody who uses them a lot, or you're not sure if it's something that you would use, this is a great way to try them and get just a sampling of a bunch of different things. So I did also pull out these alpha stickers. I think these are from Altenew. They're definitely not thickers, but they were in my stash. I've got a lot of letters in my stash, so I am going to go ahead and use those. My title is Pick a Paint. And I don't go and get pedicures very often, but when my sister's in town, we always go and do something, whether it's massages, pedicures, manicures. We almost always go out to eat, and then we do some other kind of girly type of deal just to have some time together. And this particular trip, we did manicures and pedicures, and so the middle picture is of the two of us, and both of the photos are my feet. One, I have a paraffin wax, and the other, I don't even know if I think she's getting ready to do my nails. But that is always the biggest question when you go and get your nails done. What color of paint? And I could sit there for like the longest amount of time, you know, probably half the time I was there. If I wasn't occupied chatting with somebody, I would still be sitting there looking at the samples of colors. So I decided to call it Pick a Paint, because you're always picking paint. So I thought it would be awesome to use some of these paint motif type items. I really loved the little jar of paintbrushes from the set of craft tools from MK's shop, and then the little charms. I'm going to dangle those down from that camera piece, the camera flare. And that is one reason that I chose to use the color that I did at the bottom of the layout, is because that flare is that same color of that purple. And so I thought that worked really well. And I believe that was Victorian velvet that I used, but I thought it looked really good. And so that's why I decided to go with that. I also like that it has the yellow in the center of the camera, that brings the yellow from the top of the layout down a little bit more. Even though I've got that film strip. Now my film strip is not laying flat. I did want it a little bit buckled, and that was intentional. I'm not sure if I would do it again, just because I had a hard time kind of messing around with it and getting it to stay where I wanted. But I ended up using my tiny attacher to hold it in place. So if you have trouble, pull out your tiny attacher. I did use a little bit of embossing thread or floss to hold those charms on to that jar of wood, the wooden jar of paintbrushes. And I am using some really thick foam from the dollar store to hold my flare in where I want it. Now my flare, I did run it through my Big Shot. I have a switch, and what I do is I leave one of the plates out and I run it through, and it flattens it. And I learned that from MK, so no, I don't get any credit for that. That's all her. But I think it's a great way to do your flare and have it a little thinner, especially when your flare is on top of the wood. It would be extra thick. And then I am just using some black and yellow thread and bundling it up into a little nest and tucking it underneath each of these flare pieces. And I'm really liking the way that that's looking. And using a little bit more foam to go ahead and hold this in place. Even though it's flattened out, it still has a little bit of a gap underneath it. It's a little bit concave, so you need some foam to hold it in place. Now the purple one is already stuck down. I was able to pry it up a little bit and tuck it under, tuck the thread under just a bit, and then I just used my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to hold it in place. I am trimming off about 1/8 of an inch all the way around the entire layout, because I'm going to back it with another piece of paper. I'm going to use black because I used a black viewfinder. I've also got black thread, and I've got the black title, so I think that ties it in all nicely together and makes a nice framework for the entire layout. While I do that, don't forget to check out everyone who's playing along with Mixed Media Mayhem. Their links are down below, and don't forget to go check out all of the products in the some assemblage required shop, so that you can pick those up if you are interested in them. She's got all kinds of stuff over there, you guys. A lot of really awesome things that are different and unique. And the wood veneer is all adhesive backed, so you don't even have to worry about how you're going to stick it down. I am just doing a little bit of journaling. This is not something I do on camera very often, so you're getting an extra sneak peek there. But because all that texture paste is down below and the embossing powder, this was really the only place that I could do my journaling. And that is it, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Oh, and don't forget, there is a link down below for this Mixed Media Mayhem scrapbooking group. You can go and join if you're interested in that. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another video, so come back then. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.